Hello, colorful souls. It's Arden, and I wanted to share a little bit of an NDE that I experienced when I was 4 years old. And it's not quite an NDE, so I don't want to send you down the path that this was a full NDE, but it was more what I call a complete knockout, a TKO of consciousness. So I like to call it a CKO, consciousness knockout. And what occurred, let me share it with you because what has happened since then has really changed the projection, the trajectory of my life and why I work with color. So when I was 4, I dreamed of being a ballerina like I think many little girls have. I had that little jewelry box with the ballerina inside. I also did a lot of ballet, was never very graceful, but my mom always allowed me to get dressed up and go and rehearse with my class. Well, one day I decided that I was going to be that ballerina in the box. And it was the summer that right before I turned 5. So still 4. And in the garage was one of those metal rimmed uh, pools, kiddie pools. They don't make them now, and you'll see why. But I have an example of what one looks like. But I grabbed one of those kiddie pools and I decided to put the red wagon in it and then this bottle sterilizer, this metal bottle sterilizer that I thought was a stool. And I piled them all up and then I climbed up in my tutu, in my ballerina uniform, and stood on top of that bottle warmer. Well, as the visual shows, everything came tumbling down. All I remember was doing this on my head and literally like spinning, and that's it. Memory wiped out, gone. I don't remember anything after. I don't remember cracking my head open on the metal corrugated, that fluted edge. I don't remember that. I don't remember any of it. But that's what the scar looked like. And it's still, you can see it, it's still here. And it reminds me all the time of when I wanted to be this ballerina and literally fell to my death. I was pulled out of my body, not conscious, was pulled to be with angels and with my grandfather. And this is really interesting because the angels basically take a lot of children that are going through trauma and pull them out to kind of protect them from any trauma that may occur for them, and then eventually put them back in, raise the consciousness back up. So that is what occurred for me, where I was floating up in the angelic realms and hanging out with my grandfather. For how long, I don't know. I just know it was really beautiful. But there are a couple things that really changed for me after that incident. The first one was I remember, and I just remember running as fast as I could because I thought that if I could run super fast, that I would be able to catch wind and start to lift up and fly. There was this enormous desire to fly. I had that then, which wasn't, I don't remember if when I was 3 I wanted to do that, but ever since that happened, that was one thing that had occurred for me. Another thing that was really interesting, I never could figure it out. When I was 27, I'll never forget this. I had just gone to sleep, turned the light off, and I heard all these children's voices. And they started getting closer and closer, and I could hear them. They were very young, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, and they're just like all excited. And the voices kept getting closer and closer. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I lived in a very residential area and in back behind a main house. So this was not normal to have a bunch of kids at 1 in the morning making all this noise and getting closer and closer and closer. And so finally, it sounded like they were in the house. I sat up, turned the light on because I'm like, what the heck is going on? And all of a sudden, boom, this angel floats through with like 4 or 5 kids on her, and they're all like waving at me, hi, bye, bye, and they just then floated out the window. And I remember during this whole time, I'm like physically pinching myself, going, okay, this can't be happening. I can't believe I'm seeing this. I can't believe I'm seeing this with my physical eyes. And I could never understand why I could see that and what the reason was. There was no message for me. And now, much later, as I look back on that time when I was basically CKO'd, for lack of better terms, when I was that little girl floating up in the angelic realms, being taken care of by the angels and my grandfather, it's like I got to see what else they get to experience. Angels kind of take you flying around. It's just beautiful. It's fun. It's a fun world, and it's one that I will never forget, and one that we can all visit at any time we want if we just go into a deeper meditative state. So what was occurring for me is I started to see in the evening, when it was started to get dark, all of these moving colored lights, and always moving, never stopping, little tiny dots of multiple colors. And it looked almost like what I'm showing here is this TV fuzz, but beautiful, moving constantly, sparkling, all of that. And so at night, I just enjoyed the dark. It didn't scare me because I knew these lights were there to visit me, to comfort me. And they would actually create um, beautiful jewelry for me and like images. So, and then I would hold out my finger, and then a little ring would go on my finger, and they would have jewels. They would make jewels, and all of this out of the these colored lights. And they actually then would move and create just beautiful visuals for me. I was always fascinated with them. And the thing is, I could see them in the daytime. You just have to refocus. It was easier for me to see them at night because they're very bright. So the one thing about these colored lights, I've seen them ever since I was 4. This is why I've delved into color so much, because the big question for me has been, what the heck are these colored dots, these moving dots? I got my eyes checked. I'm like trying to figure out, what is there something wrong with my eyesight? Nope, nothing. Perfect eyesight at the time. Um, you're fine. There's nothing wrong. But I could see, and I can see these moving lights. The thing is, I used to think it was just I was seeing air. Oh, I can see all of the colored dots that make up air, because it actually moves through you. It actually, this realm of our physical, like like cups and desks and tables and chairs, they sit within this color grid. They sit within it. The color grid holds it. So it's almost like it opens up to other realms, other dimensions. But I didn't know that. I just wanted to understand, what are these colored dots? What are these colored dots? So it started me seeking and really exploring for the last 30, 40 years. And I, about 10 years ago, I finally figured out what those colored dots were. And I show this visual here because the colored dots make up the cosmic sea, this beautiful, blissful grid, the consciousness of all that is, the divine, the universe. This is what we are part of. And it literally opens up. There's all these different portals and ways to enter into it, the multi dimensions, but they're all here, all right now. So I know it's hard to explain, but I want to like share with you how I've experienced this grid. I call it the color grid, but you can call it color and light are the same thing. So it's all energy, and this is just how it moves. one thing that I've noticed is that as certain things occur, like if you see orbs or whatever like that, they're moving through this color grid. It is like it could be an angel, it can be a guide, it can be a teacher. But typically, as our guides and angels step forward, it's usually as just color and light energy. That's all it is. That's all they are. But then they can take form and actually enter into our physical realm if need be. So I've only had a few times where I've had a being step through into the physical realm and communicate to me with a physical voice. It's I can count it on 3 fingers. It's only happened to me 3 times. But the way I typically work with spirit is through my intuition, through the gifts, and you have them just as well as everyone else. So this color grid is actually where we were all born. It's light. This is color and light. We are born in light. And as divine, we are refracted into unique colors. So we each have a unique soul color that is aligned with our soul. There's other colors too that are supportive to us, but there's typically a main color that kind of helps guide us and our purpose, what our soul is here to be doing. And I have done extensive research on that for the last 10 years, and I'll talk more about that as more and more videos are added. But that is one of the main works that I've done. But it's kind of like that Star Trek, beam me up, where if you can just think of spirit as all of these beautiful, this energy is all these beautiful dots that can coalesce and create form and matter and then dissipate. And so if you realize that this grid is there, like it's here, you can see it, and that we can actually change form. And I know this sounds crazy, but there is the possibility. And I want you to keep your mind open to that with this grid. I've heard other people say that within this grid, they have actually pulled physical things out of the grid. Um, Again, it's not something that you do by wanting something. It's only out of true love and desire for um, it's you can't create without your heart in it. So it's not about magic. It's not about scaring people. This grid is very beautiful. Most of the time, I just see static, but I want to explain how it works a little bit. What I've noticed over the last 50 plus years of working with the color grid, with consciousness. And the best way to work with it is in your dreams. What I've discovered is that when I've had a dream that was and I'm sure you can remember a dream that was super like vibrant, like full color, very memorable, something that sticks out. It could have been maybe where you felt maybe someone that you loved that has passed on came forward and shared a message with you, or it could be that was just super, super colorful. One of the dreams that I had that was very memorable was I was in another world. Well, I'll explain that a little bit. But I was in another world, and this I was standing on the edge of a cliff, and up rose this beautiful owl with its wings outstretched, and it was just flying right there, hovering right in front of me. And at that moment it did that, I woke up. And when I woke up, that owl was in my room, the beautiful visual of that owl in full color, like beautiful, and flapping its wings. And then it slowly disappeared, disintegrated into the color grid. And that's when I noticed, oh, when we dream, when we're in those super rested states, the grid is there. We are actually traveling, and I was in another world. So you can travel to parallel universes. You can visit yourself in parallel universes. I'm sure many of you I know right now, because of the increase in energy on our planet, a lot of people are having these crazy dreams of visiting parallel lives. You're doing that through the color grid. You're doing that through the grid, through the cosmic grid. What happens is when I wake up, typically from those types of dreams, all of the grid is not that static. It is these round, it's still made of the colored dots, but it's all like round spheres that are super fuzzy. So it's almost like it just slowly takes you in and traveling to that parallel world that you exist in. Another version of you exists in. So one of the things about the parallel worlds is that it's your energy, your soul's energy that is there, but you could have a different name, but you know exactly what's occurring and happening because you're taking on your soul's vibration. You're actually connected with your higher self, and you're doing this through that, through your soul. So it's not dangerous. It's not like you're doing an out of body type of thing. It really is your soul just taking your consciousness and taking you along for the ride, which you get to watch and look and be a part of. So that occurs within this color grid as well. There are some times where if I'm in a deep meditative state and I open my eyes just to look at the angels that are surrounding, I can see movement within the grid, almost like wings moving, all of this beautiful color and light energy that occurs. So, hopefully that gives you an understanding a little bit of how color and light work together, how the cosmic grid works, how you can actually physically see it with your eyes. Literally, it looks like fuzz. So another unique thing about seeing this grid is that I've noticed that it changes when I'm in a loving state as well. So if I'm focused on love and loving someone, not just me, but others, then what occurs within the grid is all this sacred geometry starts popping up. So instead of seeing the fuzz, what starts occurring is creation of like different hexagons and squares and road. It just gets really beautiful really quickly. And that's pretty amazing what can occur. This is interesting because think about it. It's like your thoughts affect all of the energy and the wavelengths, the photons, which is color and light. It affects everything and they move, they change, and they will coalesce when it's loving. It almost coalesces like little snowflakes everywhere. All these beautiful geometries will occur. When you are dreaming, or if you're going through to a parallel world or visiting in your dreams something, you will see all of these fuzzy soft, it's almost like it's like little cushions of colored light balls that are all around. It's wonderful. So there's many ways it moves and works. I'm sure at some point or another, the science will catch up to what many of us, I don't think I know I'm not the only one that sees this, and I know that many others can see it. So if you want to practice at night is best, and then just notice the air. Try and look at the air. Try and pull out all the different colors in the air. That is the grid. That's this beautiful cosmic sea of consciousness that we all tap into. And when you recognize that your soul is in that, and that you are just a little human in like in one realm of that, it makes it really amazing because you realize, oh, I'm not alone. And maybe this is a game, or maybe am in the matrix. But whatever it is, it definitely gives you a little bit more perspective to be more kind to yourself and to observe and enjoy what's going on in your life. So with that, I'm going to leave it. I'll talk more about soul colors in the coming weeks and months, but I just wanted to start with that. Let me know what you think in the comments below.